Don't forget you can vote by mail because it's hard to hold a pen with your paws. Welcome back to Congresswolf. To recap what we have been through so far, we are taking over from the previous campaign manager who was killed in the office of the campaign headquarters by a werewolf. We have run into a werewolf rights activist. We have a few other people that we've met, including our friend Abby, the journalist, Soon Lee, the finance director, and, of course, the candidate himself, whose name escapes me at the moment. That's not a good sign for his re-election. And also the mysterious Jonas. But we've got some very interesting angles to figure out here. And just like real politics, it's only going to get crazier the closer it gets. So let's delve right into this, shall we? Media Hound. You've got half an extra large black coffee left in your cup, and you can tell that it's not going to be enough to get you through this meeting. It's the weekly leadership confab where all the department heads sit down or phone in the case of the Sandy. The Sandy, married to the Brian Kendrick. The field director, who's always on the road in some part of Nirmal's district that you've never heard of. How the hell did I forget his name? The cutest kitten in the world. And go over their progress since last week and their goals for the upcoming week. At the best of times, it can be a bit dull, but so far this week it's been a hit parade of bad news. Between the headaches starting behind your left eye and the late night you pulled last night going over the budget, it's all you can do to keep your eyes open. Soon Lee, the finance director, is speaking. Last month we raised $30,000, she says, clicking through to the next slide on her presentation, which gives us a total of $40,000 on hand. Yeah, luckily someone hit a scratch off to help with the rest. You know these numbers already. They are a spot of bright light in what's lately been a gloomy campaign, even if they did keep you up late calculating and recalculating. You managed to hit all your spending priorities, laying a strong foundation for the campaign. You looked down at the spreadsheet already open on your table, thinking about the best way to spend the money you've raised on hand. Okay, so we've got $20,000 to work with, and eventually... that will happen, certainly. Okay, well, let's try. I want to work on the finance spending, because we end up hitting all of these anyway. Soon Lee would probably prefer if raising money were all the campaign did, with none of that pesky spending. Well, you know, their dream, sister. So, let's see. We can save some money by cutting the digital marketing budget. Not really a good idea, I don't think. We can also rent a list of big money donors to cozy up for cash. Now, I'm not sure if that would be... I'm not sure if that would actually be in place of the digital marketing budget. I think polling is one of the options we'll look at later, I think. Because we're going to end up coming to all these. So I guess the thing is, once again, audience participation. Make your voice heard. Do we want to stick with what we've got, or do we want to go for some big money donors? Okay. 2 people say 2. Okay, yeah, it looks like we're cozying up to the bigwigs. Okay, so ultimately that's only going to cost us $5,000 more than what we were doing. All right. Okay. Bringing up the size of the average donation is one way to raise money. More money, rather. And to do that, you need a list of people with big wallets and a soft touch for Democratic politicians. You add it to the budget and watch the totals changed. Okay, so at this point, we apparently don't have anything else to spend. Okay, so thing is, do we want to cut the marketing budget in favor of the list rental? I think that's what I originally intended. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and cut that. Okay. Cutting back on your digital spending is going to make it harder to raise money from small dollar donors, especially outside of an anomalous district, but a penny saved is a penny earned, and you can put those pennies to good use elsewhere. Like in the railgun to fire at the opposition. Okay. All right. We got 35,000. We could hire a call center, but wait a fucking second. Okay, I'm done with the finance budget is what I want to do. Sorry, I totally messed that up. Field spending. Spending money on field programs means more contact with voters, improving Normal's chance of persuading them to vote for him. Plus, it keeps Sandy from yelling at you, which is a benefit all by itself. So let's see. We've got the volunteer recruitment project right now. Hire staff in key precincts to manage volunteers and run our voter contact programs. So if we do that, we could do that concurrently with the volunteer project. I don't remember what. I don't remember exactly what we're doing as far as polling goes. In fact, let's take a look at that right now. Excuse me. Polling budget. Without good polling, you have no way of knowing whether anything you're doing to re-elect Normal is effective. Watch the freaking news. Keeping your finger on the pulse of the voting public can be invaluable. Okay, we haven't done anything, apparently. Just poll for horse race numbers. Who's winning and who's losing is all I care about. Apparently we don't have anything in polling right now. So that would probably be a good idea to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and make an executive decision here and just say we're going to add that on, and people seem to agree. And we're going to stick with the volunteers for the field work. Okay, so we are flat broke. Hopefully we'll have some more coming in from the fat cats. I'm done with the budget. Next up is Ashanti, your communications director, with more bad news. We're falling short of our targets in nearly every county, and if we don't turn it around soon, it's going to start impacting our poll numbers, the ones we finally, started looking at. She outlines a set of suggested action items you've already vetted, as well as a call to action. We've had a few wake-up calls in this meeting. We've still got time to turn this around, but that time is running out. You look around the room, taking in the glum faces, the fidgeting, the shifting eyes. At last someone speaks. What are we going to do about all of this? The discontent in the conference room is growing. You've got to do something to put this meeting, not to mention this campaign, back on track. I need to take charge and bring the rest of them in line. Spoken like a true alpha bitch. I need to remind them who we're doing this for, the people of Normal's district. I need to sell them on the idea that we're going to get through this and make a comeback. All right. Okay. Ooh, we are heavily divided here. Goober Slot, looks like you have the deciding vote. And no, you cannot abstain. Okay. Just barely. I need to take charge and bring the rest of them in line. You stand up, rocking the folding table as you push your chair back. Half the staff jumps. Good, you think. I've got their attention. Okay, listen up, you say. We're in a tough spot. There's no denying that. You glance around the room, making sure everyone is looking at you. I've been in tough spots before, though, and I know a lot of you have, too. But we've only got... Sandy starts, but cuts off when you hold up your hand for patience. I know we can get through this, you continue. I know we can win this race. And I'm asking the rest of you to trust me and follow my lead. The staff isn't buying it. You look from face to face, seeing skepticism to outright disbelief. At least no one's unkind enough to say so out loud, or maybe they're too embarrassed. Anyway, you say awkwardly, let's get on with it. Get on with it! You fumble your way back into your seat and pull up the meeting agenda on your tablet. Before the meeting can resume, you're interrupted by applause as Normal walks around the corner and into the alcove you've dubbed the conference room. Startled, you check your phone for the time. Normal wasn't supposed to show up to headquarters for another 45 minutes. Just your luck that this is the one time someone as tightly scheduled as the congressman is early. He's smiling, but you can detect a hint of sarcasm in his eyes as he comes around the table to join you. Yeah, he leaps across the table. Well said, Riley, Normal says, I was saying something very similar to my kids just the other day. Those little bastards. His tone is cheerful, even friendly, but you can still read the truth in his eyes. He's not impressed. Not at all. Turning to address the rest of the staff, he says, if the rest of you will excuse us, Riley and I need to talk about newspaper endorsements. Someone's getting a beating. You wrap up the meeting quickly, early or not. Normal's schedule takes precedence over yours, and lead Normal into the office, shutting the door behind you. So, you say by way of introduction, the Star. Biggest paper in town, Normal says. People listen to what they have to say. Didn't endorse me last time. Nope. My husband bet me $5 that they won't this time around either. Wait, who is talking? Wait, okay, so first it was me, then Normal, then me, then Normal, then me, and then Normal. Oh, okay. Well, apparently, okay. Okay, he's gay. Whatever. Threw me for a second, but no worries. The two of you share a tight smile. Then Normal says, so what are we going to do to make sure he loses that bet? Marry you to a woman, because people won't vote for a gay guy. Just ask Pete Buttigieg. So I'm sorry, I kid. Don't worry, I know exactly what they want to hear, and we'll tell them. We, as far as I can tell, are a female. Don't worry, I know exactly what we want to hear, and we'll tell them. We will emphasize the issues we agree with them on and lay out strong arguments for our disagreements. Let's go in there and talk about your most popular positions, point out that the average voter is on your side. Don't pander to them. You need to have the courage of your convictions. Okay. All right. That looks like 2 all the way. Normal looks surprised. I think we want to downplay the disagreements, don't you? You shake your head. They're not going to... I just saw what Goober and Misfits said. Oh, good Lord. You shake your head. They're going to ask you about it, and they're going to expect you to try to duck the questions. So let's play against those expectations. Strategy nailed down. You and Normal settle in for a round of interview role play with you in the role of the Star editorial board. Normal is doing swimmingly, thanks to taking the questions in stride and smoothly pivoting to prepared talking points when you aim a too probing question at his armor. You glance down at your list of questions. All right, Congressman, you say, just one more question. The werewolf rights bill will be coming up for a vote soon. How will you be voting? Normal opens his mouth to respond, but the phone rings before he can speak. Saved by the bell. Raising a finger and mouthing 1 minute at you, he answers it. Hello? Yes, this is he. Oh, I see. Thank you for telling me. Yes, of course. Anything we can do to help. Why do I sound like William Shatner? After a few more exchanges, he hangs up and turns back to you. He's gone a little white around the eyes. That was Sergeant Evans, he said. The medical examiner has confirmed that Maggie was killed by a werewolf. Which we kind of already surmised, but, nice to have confirmation. You rock back heavily in your chair, a ball of ice forming in the pit of your stomach. You'd suspected, hell, you'd known, that was what they'd find. From the moment you'd seen the way Maggie's throat had been ripped out. But part of you hadn't believed it could really be true until now. Normal clears his throat. You notice that his hands are shaking. They recovered some hairs from the scene, he says. They've sent them to a lab for DNA testing. And lycanthropes are required to register with the government and provide a DNA sample, you remember. Then they've got the bastard, you say out loud. Maybe, Normal says. Not everyone registers, even though it's required by law. Do they have any idea who they're looking for? Sergeant Evans mentioned that some aspects of the crime scene were reminiscent of revenge killings by militant werewolf groups. With a visible effort, he gets himself under control. I'm sorry, he says. Hearing Sergeant Evans say it out loud was kind of a shock. I know what you mean, you say. You eye him for a second and then decide that it's safe to ask the question that's been on your mind for a while. How do you feel about werewolves? I mean, in general. Do you have any history with werewolves before now? I mean, so how are you going to vote on the werewolf rights bill? Also, why are you not wearing your collar? Oh boy, we're going right to it. Yes, I do, Normal says evenly, but his eyes slide away from yours. Someone very close to me when I was young was a werewolf. I didn't find out about it for many years, and when I did, the way I found out, it was extremely traumatic for me. That's terrible, you say. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Normal says quietly. Do you think that things would have worked out differently if they felt like they could be open with you from the beginning? No wonder you can feel conflicted about lycanthropes. I don't know how you could go through something like that and still bend over backward to be fair to werewolves. Okay, so we got DIOT, you're voting for number 2, is that correct? Okay, we got 2 and we got 1, if I'm reading that right. Okay. Oh God, we're divided again. Rick, the deciding vote goes to you. Okay, no wonder you feel conflicted. No shit. Normal blows air out between his lips, a surprisingly human gesture from your usually all-politician boss. I won't let my feelings stand in the way of doing what I think is right, though. I'd never think you would, you assure him. You call a 10-minute break to give you both a chance to recover from that unexpectedly emotional moment. After that, you... yeah. No shit. After that, you try to get back to the role-playing. It's quickly clear that neither of you is up for endlessly retreading the ground you've already rehearsed, though, and Normal's phone has started buzzing with reminders for his afternoon full of meetings, so the two of you call it a day. Normal heads out to glad hand donors and buttonhole campaigns of industry. I'm just glad he's buttonholing instead of cornholing. While you stay behind in the office, poring bleary-eyed over spreadsheets and meeting agendas, and trying to think of ways to get an edge in tomorrow's meeting with the Star's editorial board. One option keeps staring you in the face. Could be. Just make sure the editor-in-chief of the Star is, shall we say, well-disposed towards you and Normal. It's supremely unethical, of course, but it's not technically illegal. The editor-in-chief isn't an elected official, and the paper's endorsement isn't a vote in Congress. Find out what the editor likes to drink and bring her a bottle of the really good stuff. The best way to anyone's heart is with large quantities of unmarked bills. Cost $10,000. Normal and his policies can stand on their own. We don't need to bribe our way into the endorsement. If I remember right, this game usually grays out an option that you can't select, so we apparently could do it. Okay. Goober. Okay. No bribe needed. You think about the passion in Normal's voice when he talks about immigration or his jobs policy, the conviction in his eyes when the two of you role-played questions about criminal justice reform and education. The intensity of Normal's feelings will shine through in the interview. He doesn't need a leg up, and he'd be offended and angry if he thought if he thought you tried to give him one. He can stand on his own 2 feet. Or hind paws. The day dawns sticky and heavy like every day the week before it. At least you get to sleep in a half hour, though. The meeting with the Star's editorial board is today, and you want to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Plus, the Star's offices are on the other side of town from normal headquarters, so there's no way you could have gotten there in time to do any real work before the meeting. Lifting his leg up. Also, I like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in this context. The Star Building is a grand old edifice downtown with pointlessly crenellated windows lacing crumbling brick walls. Well, I managed to pronounce, like, crenellated fine, and then I screw up pronouncing on a brick. Wow. You meet Normal out front, clutching your double-shot latte and leaning against the Eco Garden's retaining wall until Normal and his flotilla of aides pull up in a slick black car. Or slick brick car. Yeah. Normal gets out, flanked by flunkies, with a phone pressed to his ear. He cocks an eyebrow at you as he mounts the steps. Your stomach is filled with butterflies, but you force a grin you're not feeling and fall into step with the Normal posse as they blow through the front doors of the Star Building. I wish there was a Garfield strip with the Normal posse, just a whole bunch of cute gray kittens, just, stalking him like the Jesse James gang, Up 6 floors and around a corner, and suddenly the minions peel off and you're alone in a room with the editor-in-chief. Well, you, Normal, and the rest of the editorial board are alone in the room with her. So really no one is alone in a room with anyone. At first the questions are friendly. Can you sum up the governing philosophy in 3 words or less? Families, security, values. In 3 words or less. Puppets, puppets, puppets. You joke around together. Normal gives pre-planned answers to practice questions. Then the questions get tougher. Congressman, can you explain your no vote on last year's jobs bill? What you have to understand about that bill was this. Normal starts to look serious, then he starts to sweat. Never let him see you sweat. You wish you could help. You know all the answers to the questions, but you're not there to answer for him. You're just there to observe. You sit in your assigned seat behind and to the left of Normal so he can't see you and think all the right answers to yourself. You know, the fact that he didn't start panting when he sweat could tell us that he's not a werewolf. In the end, Normal nails it. Every question is one you practiced before, and he answers them like a champ, not just remembering the responses you'd planned together, but really delivering them, making them sound off the cuff and from the heart. He sat for a long time. Good boy. Roll over, Congressman, roll over. Beg. Take the bribe, Congressman, take the bribe. After the last question has been answered and the last hand enthusiastically pumped, you and Normal walk out of the Star Building together, trailed by his aides. Which way do you think they'll jump? Normal asks. You're a slam dunk, you say, and mean it. Go ahead and jump. Back at headquarters, you find half the office gathered around the TV in the corner. Soon Lee turns when you comes in and waves you over. It's Good Penny's new ad, she tells you in a stage whisper. The Oppo firm managed to get their hands on an advanced media copy. Your opposition research firm is one of the best. You don't know who they befriended to get you this sneak peek, but you're glad they did. Normal was one of the pre-selections. It's bacon! What's it say on the bill? I can't read. Your opposition research firm is one of the best. You don't know who they befriended to get you this sneak peek, but you're glad they did. You crowd closer to the TV, craning to see over other people's heads. It's a positive spot, surprisingly enough. Soft focus on Good Penny walking through a field, some nice puffy quotes about values and real leadership, a shout-out to the campaign website. You notice with a little smugness that it's not nearly as good as Normal's ad, even if you are biased. When it's over, Soon Lee snaps the TV off. You look around, the rest of the staff looks as smug as you feel, and you know you're not the only one thinking, ours is better. Checking your phone as you walk into the back office, you're not surprised to see an email from Divya. See the ad yet? Is the subject. Now that both campaigns are on the ad, the TV wars have really begun, and Divya wants to know if you want to stick to your guns or try a change of tactics. Keep running the same ad. I don't want to let Good Penny drive the conversation. Run a new ad, but stick to the positive. I don't want to start mudslinging just yet. Run a negative ad. The harder hitting, the better. Okay. Rick, what do you think? Rick? Okay, Rick going once. Rick going twice. And Rick going. Okay. Alright, so we will go for one. I think when I did my original playthrough, I liked the idea of this one myself. Just because, you know, seeing the same ad over and over kind of, yeah. Oh, okay, Rick, well, you're back. Okay. What would you like to select here? Keep running the same ad, run a new ad, but stick to the positive, run a negative ad. Oh, you got to run? Oh, bummer, man. All right, well, thanks for being here while you were. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you again soon, man. Okay. Yeah, but like I had said, I think this was the one I had done before because I figured people would get complacent if they saw the same ad over and over. But won the day, so we'll go with that, running the same ad. Normal's ad hasn't been on the air for long. You're loath to change it before you can get an idea of how well it's working. You fire off an email to Divya telling her to stay the course. I'm feeling pretty good about the ad running now, you tell Divya. Let's keep it rolling for a while. All you want to do is shut yourself in your office and spend the afternoon doing nothing more taxing than writing emails, but the universe has other plans. You've barely walked into the door when intern Sydney... Is that their proper name? Comes hurrying over, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as always, you note. That again? Where do kids like that get the energy? Presumably from the massive amounts of double espressos like you were having earlier. I have the report you asked for, Riley, Sydney says, waving a folder at you. It's impressively thick for intern research. Great, you say, trying to force more enthusiasm into your voice than you feel. That's great. Why don't you let me get a cup of coffee and I'll meet you in my office so we can chat about what you've turned up. Fortified with caffeine, you find the prospect of talking through Sydney's research project much more appealing. At least it's a half an hour where you won't have to make any life or death decisions. Okay, let's get ready to make a life or death decision. Yeah, I remember there was actually a 7-Eleven on the way to the university I attended that sold Jolta Cola. Yeah, I don't know if Jolt is still out there, but yeah. And this was in the days before energy drinks, so basically Jolt was your sugar high. So you know, I used to drink like full-leaded Coke, like a 2 liter a day. I'm diabetic now, wouldn't you know who won the pony? And I managed to take like 2 sips of Jolt before it was like, this is too much shit for me. They're working the gender ambiguity of almost everybody. Yeah, to be honest. But hey, why not? Yeah. Shouldn't matter that much anyway. So I wasn't sure if you wanted like the scientific stuff or more political stuff or what, so there's a little bit of everything in here. Sydney shuffles the folder nervously, then hands it over to you so you can start flipping through it. It's well organized, even if it's not much more than light reading on any one subject. I started with the mythological stuff, Sydney says helpfully. Traditional curses of lycanthropy, cures, weaknesses, and so on. Most of that stuff's not true, as it turns out, except for the garlic allergy. What? Wait, what? Fuck what? Garlic allergy, you ask. Werewolves are allergic to garlic, Sydney says with a shrug. They all develop it right after they change for the first time. Okay, just an aside here. I don't know if anyone's ever seen the movie Dracula 2000, Wes Craven's vampire movie. Those who have will understand what I'm about to talk about. Those who don't, I hope you don't mind a spoiler on it. There is several incidents in the movie where the people, the hunters of the vampires, are using essentially what work out to be like cyclical dart shooters that are firing rods of silver and getting hit with the vampires in that movie are actually vulnerable to silver. It burns them kind of like sunlight does, and you can stake them through the heart with silver and kill them. And it doesn't make sense at first until a lot later in the movie when you realize Dracula 2000. Until a lot later in the movie when it's revealed exactly who Dracula is. It's not actually Vlad the Impaler. They go biblical on this one. Dracula is actually Judas Iscariot. So he was condemned to walk the earth forever for betraying Jesus. So this was actually the form he was taken in, or the form he became. And so he's vulnerable to silver because he betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. And it made a lot of sense once that reveal was made, but up till then, I'm like, why the fuck is silver working on vampires? What the shit? Even if you know that, I still recommend the movie. It's actually really good. It's got Jennifer Esposito in it, currently on NCIS, and also has Danny Masterson, prior to that 70s show and Scientology and Criminal Activity. And Omar Epps. So, good cast. Good cast and pretty funny movie, some good action in it. But anyway, yeah, that's what this kind of reminds me of. So maybe something will make sense with this, or maybe it's just something they threw in, kind of like, hey, let me put my own twist on the werewolf thing. We'll see. We'll see. But that reminded me of how jarring it was. Yeah, Strigoi, yeah. Or Strigoi, I think that's how it's pronounced. Yeah, there are all different, vampire and werewolf myths all around the world. Every culture has one. Every country has a monster. All right. Anyway, thanks for getting this done, you tell Sydney, trying for a sincere and encouraging tone. It's going to take a little bit of time for me to digest it all, but I'm sure it'll be super helpful. It'll take some time to digest it all. Let me just rub garlic all over it. Sure, no problem, Sydney says cheerfully, but what do you want me to work on now? You think for a second. Why don't you look into Faith Goodpenny's background, see what kind of dirt you can dig up, help me put together some personal stories that Lefty can tell on the campaign trail, ask around and see what you can find out about Maggie. I think these are the same options from before, which means some of these might crop up later, but it was a while before they cropped up. What do we think, folks? Carla EpiPen. Maggie was the previous campaign manager that was killed by the werewolf, and Lefty is the nickname for Congressman Nermal. Okay, we're digging in the dirt. Find the places we got hurt. The campaign has hired a professional opposition research firm to do the same thing, of course. They produced a report about 6 inches thick that details everything from Goodpenny's elementary school report cards to the fact that she almost didn't graduate from college on time due to unpaid parking tickets. Another set of eyes couldn't hurt, though, and who knows, maybe Sydney will turn up something new. Besides, reading and summarizing 6 inches of peccadillos, gaffs, and flip-flops is a perfect job for an intern. Wow, yeah, I'm glad to know you think so highly of old Sid there. I've been making that joke off and on, XH, but yeah, welcome, XH. How you doing? Sydney's eyes go round as you hand over the Oppo firm's report. Sure, I'll get started on this right away. Yeah, even Sydney realizes they're being pandered to. You don't have to wait long for the Star's editorial board to make its decision. Less than a week after Normal's interview with the board, Abby emails you with the endorsement editorial attached. Here's what we're going to run with tomorrow, she writes. I'm cleared to share this with you, by the way. This isn't a leak. You sit for almost a minute with your cursor hovering over the file, summoning up the nerve to open it. All your nerves end up being for nothing. The endorsement can only be described as glowing. Phrases like unqualified recommendation and impressive record are used. It is our opinion that Congressman Nermal is not just the most qualified candidate in the race, but he's so darn cute. How did he ever get sent to Abu Dhabi? He is the only qualified candidate, the Stars Board writes. We strongly urge all voters to select Nermal for Congress on Election Day. Yay! We did something good. You can barely keep yourself in your seat long enough to forward the editorial to Nermal and fire off an email thanking Abby for sending it over. Then you're up and half walking, half dancing around the office, showing off the endorsement to the staff and promising drinks on you at the next happy hour. You can only spend so long celebrating, though. Getting the Star's endorsement is a good step on the road to turning this campaign around, but you need to follow it up with something that capitalizes on the good press you just got. A public appearance by Nermal could be just the thing to keep the good coverage ball rolling. You just have to figure out where he ought to go. XH, just to bring you up to speed, we're doing this as an interactive stream, so everybody gets to vote whenever a option comes up, just 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. If you haven't seen this before, we are the campaign manager of a incumbent congressperson. Werewolves also exist in this world, and there's a werewolf rights bill coming up. And the former campaign manager was killed by a werewolf. So we are now running the campaign and trying to deal with all that. Anyway, boot camp graduation at the local military base. Nermal can strut his stuff in front of the troops and give a rousing speech about leading the way at home and abroad. Crying families, cheering soldiers, what could be better? The county fair, Ferris wheels, funnel cakes, and crowds full of hands to shake and babies to kiss. A walk and talk interview with a local reporter will show the press that the public loves Nermal, and where public opinion goes, media will follow. Just be sure he doesn't kiss the hands and shake the babies. Sager Industries' newest factory opening this weekend. Nermal can cut a ribbon with absurdly large scissors and talk about his support for businesses that bring jobs to the district. Yeah, he's got to come out and say something about that soon. Okay, well, we've got 3. Majority rules, by the way, just as in real voting. So, except in this time, I don't play Electoral College and skew at all. So, this is actually a vote by the people. The factory. The new factory is a miracle of automation. It also employs 20% fewer workers than SI's other local plant. And someone tipped off the union about the upgrades and layoffs about to be announced there. When Nermal arrives to cut the ribbon, he's greeted with protest signs, anti-Sager Industries chants, and a giant inflatable rat. Wow. Nermal soldiers gamely on, going ahead with his planned speech about the importance of manufacturing to the American economy, but the workers are about to start their new shift at the new factory looked vaguely embarrassed to be even working there. When Nermal opens the doors, they practically slink inside. When the story about the factory opening comes out, you cringe to see that the picture the Star decided to run is one of Nermal standing with his back to a sign that reads, "No more robo-scabs." Well, at least, it could be worse. We could have a giant inflatable pig and a Pink Floyd concert breaks out. Actually, that wouldn't be worse. That would be fucking awesome. That went terribly badly. Days at the office are getting longer to the point where it's not fair to call them merely days anymore. The last slot for meetings on your calendar ends at 8 p.m., and the idea that your workday ends there has become laughable. You're getting a little too used to nights like tonight, when turning the key to lock up the empty headquarters seems to take the last ounce of your strength, and it's a struggle just to keep your eyes open and put one foot in front of the other as you head home. Your eyes open wider, though, as you pick up on the sound of footsteps behind you, and you realize that you've been hearing them for a while now. You turn a corner and the footsteps follow. A chill runs down your spine as you become increasingly certain that you're being followed. Stop and confront whoever's following me. Try to lose them. Maybe I'm just jumping at shadows. Run away. Stop and confront. Try to lose them. Stop and confront. Okay. You're walking down the sidewalk of a fairly busy street. Despite the hour, cars have been passing by steadily. This is as good a place as any for a confrontation. If someone is following you, they'd have to be crazy to try anything. You stop dead in your tracks and hear a shuffle behind you as your follower stops suddenly as well. Taking a deep breath, you turn around. Standing there on the sidewalk is a man who looks to be in his early 30s. He has a loose shock of dark brown hair over a red turtleneck and jeans. He looks nervous as you turn around, but there is also an indefinable air of readiness about him, like a coiled animal ready to spring. "Why are you following me?" you ask, forcing your voice to remain steady despite the hammering in your chest. The man spreads his hands placatingly. "Hey, I just wanted to talk to you for a minute." He takes a step forward, but stops when you step back. "About what?" you ask. He develops a cagey look. "You work for the Normal campaign." "And?" You start to wonder if this is some deranged constituent of Normal's about to launch into a story about how the Russian mob is tapping his pacemaker, and you just have to get the congressman to help him. "You ought to quit," he says, "or something bad might happen to you like it did to Maggie." Whoa, boy. "What do you know about Maggie?" You demand, taking a step forward before it percolates through your brain that he's threatening you and maybe aggression isn't your best move. The man's face twists in an expression that could be anger or grief. "I'm not here to answer your questions," he said. "I'm here to tell you that you need to back off. You need to quit." "I'm not going to quit my job. Are you crazy?" "What are you going to do if I don't?" "Listen, let's talk about this." "Oh, what are you going to do if I don't?" "Yes. Call the stalker out on his threat." His expression turns crafty. "Did I say I was going to do anything? I'm just giving you a warning." It sounded like a threat to me. You say, amazed at the steadiness in your voice even as you ball your hands into fists to keep them from shaking. "I'm just saying, you keep working in that office asking so many people questions, you might not find it so safe come the full moon." You say nothing. "You might ask your boss what he knows about that," he adds. Before you can ask him what he means by that, a cop car cruises slowly up the street, red and blue light bar on. The man takes one look at it and turns to leave. "Tell Thomas that F3 says hello," he says. Oh boy. You turn towards the police car, thinking about flagging it down, but when you glance back over your shoulder, the man is gone. The rush of adrenaline fades, leaving you jittery but even more exhausted than when you left the office. You lean against the street light for a couple of minutes until you get your heart rate under control, then resume your trek toward home. One thing the man said before he left keeps echoing in your head. You might want to ask your boss what he knows about that. F3, they stand up for the rights of average strength tornadoes. We just got stalked on the street by someone who said you need to quit working for Normal, or something bad might happen during the next full moon, and then he left off with tell Thomas F3 says hello. So I'm thinking this is the rogue friend of Thomas's that broke ranks with the peaceful werewolves and joined the militant werewolves. But we're going to find out more about that next time. So in the meantime, everybody walk the streets safely, keep watching the skies until we game again.